Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Vijana Vallabha Girivada Hari. Jai Vijana Vallabha Girivada Hari. Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Bhag Paramahansa Padurikacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BPT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Padurikacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavindra Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Kwantaraj srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. What's Damodar doing there? Making a whole painting? Damodar, are you there? Okay. Narayanam namaskritya Narang chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta prayesha bhadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavatyuttama shloke Bhaktim bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On the 17th day of March 2019 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, Chapter 11. Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj to stop fighting. Text number 14. Samprasanne Bhagavati
Samprasanne Bhagavati
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Vimukto Jivan Nirmukto
Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Samprasanne Bhagavati
Samprasanne Bhagavati
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Vimukto Jivan Nirmukto
Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Samprasanne Bhagavati
Samprasanne Bhagavati
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Vimukto Jivan Nirmukto
Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Brahmanirvanam Richati Samprasanne Bhagavati
Sampasanne Bhagavati
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Prakritaya Gunai
Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta
Vimukto Jivan Nirmukto
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Samprasanne Bhagavati
Sampasanno Bhagavati
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Purusha
Prakritaya
Prakritaya
Gunai
Gunai
Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta
Vimukta Jiva
Vimukto
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Brahmanirvanam Richati Dharma.
Samprasanne Bhagavati
Sampasanne Bhagavati
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Purusha
Prakritaya
Prakritaya
Gunai
Gunai
Mukto Jiva Nirmukto
Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta
Nirmanam Richati
Brahmanirvanam Richati
Samprasanne Bhagavati
Sampasanne Bhagavati
Purusha Prakriti Gunai
Purusha Prakritaya Gunai
Vimukto Jiva Nirmukto
Vimukto Jiva Nirmukto Brahmanirvanam Richati Sampasanne upon satisfaction
Upon satisfaction
Bhagavati
Bhagavati
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead
Purushaha
Purushaha
a person
a person
Prakritahi
Prakritaya
from the material
from the material
Gunai
Gunai
modes of nature
modes of nature
Vimuktaha
Vimukta
being liberated
being liberated
Jivanirmuktaha
Jiva Nirmukta
freed from the subtle body also
free from the subtle body also
Brahma
Brahma
unlimited
unlimited
Nirvanam
Nirvana
spiritual bliss
spiritual bliss
Richati
Richati
achieves.
achieves.
Translation. So this is Swayambhuva Manu speaking to Dhruva. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Purport. In the previous verse, it has been explained that one should treat all living entities with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. By such behavior, one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and upon his satisfaction, the devotee immediately becomes free from all material conditions. The Lord also confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who sincerely and seriously engages in my service immediately becomes situated in the transcendental stage wherein he can enjoy unlimited bliss. Anyone want to guess what verse that is? I think is it Manchayova Vicharina, I think. Everyone in this material world is struggling hard in order to achieve blissful life. Unfortunately, people do not know how to achieve it. Atheists do not believe in God, and certainly they do not please Him. Here it is clearly said that upon pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one immediately attains to the spiritual platform and enjoys unlimited blissful life. To become free from material existence means to become free from the influence of material nature. The word samprasanne, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied. A person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. It is not that he himself is to be satisfied. Of course, when the Lord is satisfied, the devotee automatically becomes satisfied. This is the secret of the process of bhakti yoga. Outside of bhakti yoga, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. No one is trying to satisfy the Lord. Karmis grossly try to satisfy their senses, but even those who are elevated to the platform of knowledge also try to satisfy themselves in a subtle form. Karmis try to satisfy themselves by sense gratification, and Gyanis try to satisfy themselves by subtle activities or mental speculation and thinking themselves to be God. Yogis also try to satisfy themselves by thinking that they can achieve different mystic perfections. But only devotees try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotee's process of self-realization is completely different from the processes of the Karmis, Gyanis, and Yogis. Everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries only to satisfy the Lord. The devotional process is completely different from the others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging his senses in the Lord's loving service, the devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform, and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. Om Jnana Timurandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Midatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So this Brahma Nirvana, which is mentioned in this verse, this is something that comes up in the Gita, especially in the 5th chapter. I don't know if you recall. I'm just going to read a few verses describing Brahma Nirvana. This is text 25 of the 5th chapter. Labante Brahma Nirvanam Rishiyakshina Kalmasha Chinna Dvaita Yatatmanam Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. This liberation in the Supreme is Prabhupada's phrase translating Brahma Nirvana. And the next verse also we have Brahma Nirvana. Kama Krodha Vimuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. Now it's interesting that in a few verses, at the end of the chapter, Krishna is going to speak about the peace formula. Remember the peace formula? Bhoktaram yagitapasang sarvaloka maheshwaram sudidam sarvabhutanam gyatvam shantam richati. Here he's talking about shantam, and this verse ends with the same word, richati. He achieves peace here. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice and austerities, supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Now in this passage that we read, or the verse that we read, and a nice purport, it's preceded, as probably mentions in the purport, by this, of course, text 13, which is the Lord, Swayambhu Manas is explaining how the Lord is satisfied when one is very tolerant to others, merciful, and yes, friendship and equality toward other people. So it's a question of relationship as well. And this tikshaya karunaya, this is the qualities of the sadhu, as described by Lord Kapila Dev. So it's exactly opposite to what Dhruva is doing. Dhruva let his anger get a hold of him, and he's massacring the yakshas far more than was necessary, because there was one yaksha who killed his brother, and he's killing the whole race of yakshas. So Swayambhu Manu is getting on his case a little bit here, and saying that, and chastising him, as he has a right to do. So here the Prabhupada is contrasting the devotees or the bhaktas with the karmis and the gyanis and the yogis. And the platform of satisfaction, samprasanne, or here it says being satisfied and joyful, is peacefulness. And Prabhupada seems to be referring to that verse by Lord Chaitanya in his teachings to Sanatana Goswami, where he says, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakaliya Shanta. The devotees, because they have no personal desire Their desire is focused on satisfying the Lord, which is the theme here. Therefore, they're peaceful. And on that kind of platform of peacefulness is constructed the higher levels of happiness and bliss. It's just like the different rasas, the Shanta ras, and then Dasya ras, Sakya ras, Vatsalya ras, and Madhurya ras. So the first quality, the first rasa, Shanta ras, is really characterized by, first of all, being completely free of any material desire, and being blissful, happy, just being Krishna conscious, and just waiting for Krishna to notice you or use you or whatever. There's no active service there in the Shanta ras. But those qualities are present in the other rasas. In order to enter into Dasya ras, one has to be complete. I mean, real Dasya ras, direct with Krishna, one has to be free of all material desires and being, perfectly satisfied, being Krishna conscious. But also, you want some active service where you can engage in active rasa with Krishna. So, on the other hand, you have the mukti kamis, and the siddhi kamis. And the kami word kind of gives it away. It means that they're ardently desiring something for themselves. And some of them are total atheists. There's many kamis who are certainly atheists. And even the jnanis, which include the mayavadis, who are engaging in a tremendous amount of speculation and logic and so forth, they also ultimately don't believe in God, in full God. And the yogis may or may not believe in God, but their motive is to achieve some kind of siddhi or power or go to some planet or whatever, So, on those levels, you can never be satisfied. You can never have enough. The kamis can never be satisfied that they have now achieved their eternal state of happiness, because they're subject to time. You can never really be happy in that situation. And the jnanis, the personalists, who they reject the personal form of God and relationship and everything we have in bhakti yoga, their desire is to be liberated. Means it's a negative thing. Let me be free from all of the miseries of this material life. No more death, no more birth, no more old age and disease. I'm done with that. They wouldn't say thank God, But the point is, that's their motive. That's the motivation. Not to please God, or certainly not to please other people. So you see, it's an egoistic motivation, and you're never secure in that liberation. What is that? Harim vinana muktim, I forget, without Hari, there's no liberation. And Rishabdev says, Priti niyavan maya vasudeva nimuchate dehi yogena tava. Until one attains love for me, Krishna, he's avatar of Krishna, one cannot get liberated from the bonds of a material body. So without bhakti, there's no real mukti. But because the impersonalists, their intelligence is not really purified, they reject the personal form of God and the personal relationship with God as the ultimate goal. And therefore, their so-called liberation is very insecure. A few, by great austerities and mental strength, may rise up to the spiritual platform. But it's not the platform of bhakti, it's simply Brahman. And aruha chakrena padam padantala patam chadho anadvita yushmaranga. Because they're averse, the demigods are praying Krishna in the womb. Because they're averse to serving you, therefore they eventually fall down onto the material platform. So, the secret of success, as Prabhupada says, the secret of success, what does he say here? I don't have it exactly, but that was in the purport. The secret of success in bhakti yoga is to satisfy the Lord, and that truly satisfies oneself. That only the devotees know that. But that's exactly 180 degrees different from the false ego, which focuses on one's own body, one's own mind, aham mameti, possessions. So therefore, it's not immediately obvious. It seems like a contradiction. How can you desire someone else's happiness all the time and still be happy? You know, but because we're part and parcel of Krishna, therefore, the more Krishna is satisfied, the more we're satisfied. And if you're simply, you know, happy or trying to have others engage in devotional service to be satisfied Krishna, then you're completely satisfied because Krishna is satisfied with you in engaging others in serving him. And that's the bliss involved in Lord Chaitanya's preaching movement. And I was just working on the CC and going over the various books, and I was reading the CC, and that famous verse Yari Deki Tara Krishna Krishna Upadesh Amanahagya Tara Desh. When Lord Chaitanya goes to South India and he meets a Kurma Brahman who wants to leave home and go with him. I don't know if you recall that. He wants to renounce. It's not like he's has a troubled home or anything, but he's just tired of the responsibilities and the entanglement, and he's just. Lord Chaitanya is in the highest ecstatic bliss there. He's creating devotees just by looking at them and getting them to chant Hare Krishna all throughout. So he says, "Let me go with you." And don't speak like that again. You stay here and you fulfill your duties. But whoever you meet, you instruct them in Krishna's. You give them Krishna's instructions, and in this way, you become a guru on my order and deliver this land. And Prabhupada said, "This is how this movement is going on." This is the essence of the Hare Krishna movement. Is that, and then in the purport there, in the next verse, he's still talking about it. Prabhupada's quoting from Bhaktisiddhanta's commentary, the Anubhashya, it's called. And there, although this wasn't there in the original editing or even in my original revision, Bhaktisiddhanta says, and Prabhupada quotes him, that one should not think, I'm such an advanced devotee that if I take any disciples, it's going to disrupt my bhajan, and so I'm not going to take any disciples. Such thinking should be avoided. By spreading the pure teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and following them oneself, one will be protected from any disruption of living in the material world or associating with non-devotees. You're not really associating with them if you're giving them Krishna. And therefore, one should give up this idea of this staying in a secluded place and chanting in this way protected. So this is, how the revolutionary movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going all over the world. I mean, following the spirit of Lord Chaitanya himself, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, you practice devotional service, but at the same time you have a program for spreading Krishna consciousness to the non-devotees. And this way things advance and go on. And you find yourself in a state of real happiness and bliss. So the devotional process is completely different from others, as Prabhupada says at the end of the purport, because pleasing Krishna is the focus. It's revolutionary. Whether you're a karmi, a yogi, or a jnani, or a demon, you're focusing on pleasing yourself. And this material world is arranged in such a way that you can't do that for long. You can just get a hint of happiness, which we're taking as the real thing. But that's soon gone. It's illusion. It's just like a phantasmagoria that comes and goes. And it just draws you on again to try to recapture that, but it's impossible, because on the material platform, as long as we're trying to enjoy in terms of our material mind and body, we're going to be always threatened with time, as we just read in the morning there. Time is always changing your situation. If you happen to get to a platform you think is somewhat peaceful and secure and you can enjoy, you know that it's going to be destroyed. This whole body is going to be destroyed. So where is your real happiness? It's just a self-deluding illusion of happiness, and everyone is searching for that in this material world. This is the world of grand illusion. But the ground of being, that which doesn't change, the sat, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. If you can take your pleasure in pleasing that person, then that's a platform of eternal pleasure. That line, when I first read it, I memorized it in second canto many years ago. Jiva Goswami, one of his Sandarbhas, Prabhupada quotes it in the second canto. Let's see if I can remember it now after all these years. Padma Purusha, Bhajaniya Padma Purusha Sukha Matra Swasukatvam. It's exactly what is described here. So Bhajaniya, the worshipable Lord, one who should serve, the Supreme Person, Bhajaniya Padma Purusha, Sukha Matram, only in the happiness of that worshipable Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only in His happiness, Swasukatvam, your own happiness. Do you take your own happiness? It's exactly what was mentioned here. And that's exactly Anyabhilashita Sunyam. The whole thing keys on that. Is that the bhakti which is free from any coverings, any dilution or corruption by desire for, exactly mentioned here, for material, gross material pleasure. What does it say? Jnana karma jnanabatam. Jnana karma jnanabatam. So the jnana, that's the impersonal thing. Karma is gross sense gratification. And etc. means the yogis, whatever you may have. Anavatam, not covered, not diluted. You see. So that's what it isn't. Then what is it? Anukulena Krishnanushilanam. Simply behaving in such a way with the motive of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is your motive for activity. Now, how to actually please Him, that's we learn that from the Shastra, we learn that from the already realized bhaktis. So if we can enter into that mood, then we can find ourselves actually progressing more and more into blissful life. And when you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's such a potent book because, first of all, there's Lord Krishna in the form of Lord Chaitanya, and every other page or so, you're reading about Lord Chaitanya's ecstatic symptoms and his kirtans and his teachings and his devotees and the whole thing. And you can see, well, this is a reality. This is historical reality. It's not being made up. That someone morosely is sitting in a room somewhere making up some kind of fantasy. These are history. It's all history. So So the ecstatic bliss that's described there is a historical reality. So therefore, if one can experience it, why not other? Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but all of his devotees practically, except very intimate Satyananda Dvaita, they're all Jiva souls. And many of them, especially most famously, were delivered from the most abominable situations. Jagai Madai are the perfect examples, but others also. So the point is that it's as real as the Empire State Building, realer. It's a fact. So the question is, do we want to try to work toward that? And it means it's hard work because we have to reform our diseased mentality and our habits that we've formed over many millions of lifetimes. But that's what it takes. And the only process, especially in this age, that can do that is the chanting of the holy name. And so we have to keep coming back to that as trying to refine and work on our chanting, both as a japa and the kirtan. You don't normally think, well, how am I going to work on my kirtan? Well, first of all, show up, that's the first thing, is to be there, and then to bring your full attention and your mind and sing loudly, like so many kirtans with Madhava, a little louder, from the heart. Have you heard it? So the point is you sing loudly, and that's a big part of breaking through all of the sludge in our brain that's keeping us from experiencing this. So it's what you do and what you don't do. A lot of the sadhana is not doing what we used to do. But if we can not do it for some time and start doing with full attention and enthusiasm those things that we know are the right thing, then we'll get more of a taste for them. Krishna will give us the taste. That's his blessing. He's giving us more and more taste. And there's so many verses praying for that. There's Namashtaka, there's 2 verses describing, please let me have more and more taste for your holy name. Agadamana Yashoda Nandano Nandasunu Nayana Kamala Gopi Chandra Vrindavanindra Pandita Karuna Krishna Vityaneka Swarupe Tvai Mama Matuduchaya Bhardatam Namadeha. Alright, so we're going to have a little quiz here, see who can guess what these names mean. Agadamana. Agha.
Opulence.
No.
Sin.
Agadamana. This is a name for Krishna.
Destroyer of sin.
Well, I think it refers to Agasura. You who destroyed and killed the Agasura demon. Now, Aga is sin, so he's sin personified. That's what this, he's a big snake. So, you, O killer of the Agasura demon, Yashoda Nandana means?
Son of Mother.
Yeah, and Nandasunu. Sunu is son also. Nandana, why we have all these Nandana? Devaki Nandana, Yashoda Nandana, Nandana. Nandana means that which is delighting you. And so the child in any civilized, the children in any civilized civilization are the greatest source of happiness for the parents. So Yashoda Nandana, you delighted Yashoda, you Nandasun, Kamala Nayana,
Kamala.
and then the Nayana,
Eyes.
eyes. You are the lotus petal eyes. When we say lotus eyes, it's short for lotus petal eyes. So the petals, the lotus, Kamala Nayana. Gopi Chandra,
The moon of the Gopi.
moon of the gopis. Yeah, the gopis are sometimes described like their eyes are like chakora birds, which like thrive on the moonshine. So they're wide open wide to drink that moon of Krishna's face. Gopi Chandra, and then Vrindavan Indra, Vrindavana Indra, king of the Lord of Vrindavan. And then here's my favorite name, Pranata Karuna. Pranata means those who pronounce the surrendered souls. Karuna, you who are so merciful to the surrendered souls. And of course Krishna. Pranata Karuna Krishna. Ityaneka Swarupe. Now Eka means one. What does Aneka mean? Yeah, many, unlimited names. Swarupe, you have unlimited names like this. Tvai Mama Natuduchai Vardhatam Namadehi. Rati. Tvai Mama Rati Uchai. Please increase my rati, my attraction for these names, unlimited. Vardhatam. We have Govardhana hill. Vardhana means that which nourishes or increases. So please increase my rati for you unlimitedly. Oh, holy name. You can pray like that. And then the last verse, he's also praying for attraction. Narada vino jivana sudhomi niyasa maruri pura tam Krishna nama kamam spodame rasane rasena sada. So this is where Madhuri Pura got his name from this verse. Arjuna. Madhuri Pura means a flood of sweetness. So, oh holy name, you are the inspiration, the life and soul of Narada Muni's Veena. When he plays that Veena, he's always chanting Hare Krishna. Vino Jivana Sudhormi, waves of nectar. Niryasa, concentrated nectar. Madhuri Pura, it's a sweet flood of the most concentrated nectar. This is the way Rupa Goswami is experiencing the holy name. He's encouraging us, yes, you chant purely and you'll also experience it. Madhuri Pura, Tvam Krishna Nama Kamam. If you please, this word kamam it means that if you like, if you please. O holy name, O Krishna Nam. Kamam spudame vasane vasena sada. Always appear on my tongue with great relish, with great taste. May my tongue always be greedy to chant you forever. So that the idea is that as conditioned souls, we also have this little Ladini Shakti, but it's being directed externally, and therefore instead of being a source of bliss, endless bliss, which it is in the spiritual world, it becomes a source of misery because we try to please our senses, and eventually that becomes a source of the greatest misery, because we get another birth and you burn out the senses and you try to be happy again and again, but the more you try through the senses, then it causes pain, it becomes suffering. Yehi sangsvarjita bhoga dukkha yona evate, Krishna says in the Gita, in the 5th chapter. The very sense gratification you're experiencing is the source of your misery. Prabhupada says in that purport or a nearby purport that the happiness of the sense gratifier is actually his worst enemy. The pleasures you get is your worst enemy. because it completely obliterates the idea of self-realization, or the interest in self-realization, or God-realization. And you become obsessed with just experiencing those pleasures again and again. And that leads downward into animal life. So, Krishna consciousness is a serious business. It means retraining the senses and the mind to take pleasure in being Krishna conscious and taking pleasure in Krishna's pleasure. But it's possible to do. And the whole movement is based on that. If devotees weren't experiencing any kind of bliss, if they're just going along and there was a big, renunciation party, the movement would have never got off the ground. But the moment you become absorbed a little bit, even in any condition, from any condition, a little bit in chanting Hare Krishna, you can feel it's imported from Goloka Vrindavan, and it's you can feel something, and so if you go with it, then you can actually attain this state. Samprasanne. How does it? Samprasanne. This prasanna word comes up again and again. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma and associated. And prasanna, I looked it up, and it means pleased, but it also means clear. Prasanna. When the mind is very clear and is free from the agitations and waves and whirlpools of sense gratification and desires, that's prasanna. And the natural bliss of the soul comes out. It's good to remember that sometimes, that our natural state is to be in full happiness and bliss. And why aren't we all that well? Because the mind is agitated and is covering the natural state of the soul. So when the mind becomes clear and peaceful, because we're not trying to satisfy this or run away from that, the natural state of the soul can come out, which is happiness. And that's nourished by cultivating this desire to please Krishna. That's the whole point of this verse. So he's pleased, also with our relationships. He's very satisfied when his devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. That's the qualities of the sadhu that are mentioned by Kapila Dev. We should try to cultivate those. So, any questions or comments on these points? Okay. Oh, was that? I thought you were just scratching your head. Is it on? There you go.
So this is like a basic question people ask again and again, but I would just like to hear your answer. That we're supposed to serve selflessly, but in the back of our head we know that's the way to true happiness. So how is it exactly selfless? We're serving Krishna for his satisfaction, yes. But we know that's what gives us happiness.
Yes. That's a good question. The whole process of devotional service is purifying our motivation of the heart, why you do things. So it really starts with even a more basic thing than that, and that is the desire for liberation. Not impersonal liberation, but why would Krishna say Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshana Darshanam? That essential part of knowledge, as he's listing in the 13th chapter. One of them is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, to be always aware, to see, and be soberly aware of the evils of birth, old age, disease, and death. Because we're not pure enough to be motivated right away simply by the desire to please Krishna. So, but understanding our real situation, and that these miseries are attacking us from all directions, then we should want to be liberated and then chant Hare Krishna. You know what I mean? So, with that understanding of the desire for liberation, really, though we don't mention it that way, but really that's what it is, and you start chanting Hare Krishna, then your desire changes. That's the whole theme of this pastime, of Dhruva. Right? Dhruva he had almost a childish material motivation to get this wonderful kingdom, greater than Brahma's. But that brought him into contact with Narada Muni. So that this is exactly what the preaching movement is. Prabhupada's wandering around in New York City, and people don't know what they want, right? But he had a preaching field there where you had a certain number of intelligent young people whose normal ties and normal trajectory of material life had been disrupted for whatever reason by the war in Vietnam. That disrupted my trajectory. Or more likely at that early time in the 60s through drugs and exploration of LSD. It shook the foundations of everyone's sense of reality and what was important. You had a glimpse of something transcendent or different, so it created a great curiosity and interest. Many were destroyed by that because they kept going deeper and deeper into the drugs, and the drugs changed, and you're ruining your brain, We had one fellow here. This was before any of you had come. This is like in the early 90s. He had taken a trip and never come down completely. So he was always prone to. He was a sincere guy. I remember he would, go around and, he's watering tulsi, and he would be able to do service. But then at certain times he couldn't do it, anymore, and he would kind of just go into catatonia. We really couldn't keep him here.
You mean like he'd freeze up everything?
He would he would become dysfunctional, And then he had this crazy girlfriend who accused us of stealing him away and everything. But the point is that it was full of that. Read the Lilamrita, especially when Prabhupada goes to San Francisco. He's got these classes, people come in and they're arguing with Prabhupada, I'm God, and all these things. But with all of that, you also had some real jewels, who weren't. They'd taken LSD, but they didn't ruin themselves. And they were intelligent, and they were searching, and Prabhupada just got them to chant Hare Krishna and listen to the wonderful philosophy and his personality. And they were, well, as soon as you start chanting seriously, then you have the spiritual strength to give up this, give up that, and Prabhupada is right there. You're able to serve the pure devotee, and so you're getting this wonderful taste, and your heart is opening up, and the movement started that way. So back to your question. So the motive for coming in touch can be anything. And Krishna even says, if you're pious, meaning you approach God for it rather than marks, okay, just to use a metaphor, or some other crazy philosophy, then they'll approach me out of distress. That's the main one. Or desire for wealth, or curiosity, or desire for knowledge. He praises the one in knowledge. He's really talking about Brahmabhuta, Bahunam Jamanamante, there. But so you start out with a certain motivation, and it's not just to please Krishna. You're trying to get from Krishna maybe the bliss, let me experience some bliss, or let me get free of this or this or that, or get free of my depression, that big thing. But it doesn't matter, because you're in the fire. And your motivation gets purified. So yes, we understand, intellectually, that by serving Krishna, I'm going to feel the highest bliss. That's what the purport is all about, But in the actual act of doing it, and you're doing things that please Krishna, not only are you feeling the bliss, but your whole motivation is being purified. So that there comes a point where it's really like nadanang najanang nasanami. I don't want wealth, I don't want women, I don't want great education, I don't want anything. I don't even want liberation. Birth after birth, let me simply serve you. I'll serve like bhakti, not even in hell. To really have that platform, and that's the platform of the highest bliss and selflessness. You're not wanting liberation. You take on, as Prabhupada did, the great preachers, the greatest dangers and austerities, dealing with us and fighting with the crazies in Bombay when he first got there, the land, and all this stuff. Plus his own, diseases, Prabhupada's overcoming that, I'm reading. And yet, underneath all of it is this absolute happiness, because Krishna is so pleased with you. You're giving up everything material for his pleasure. So the point is that there's a transformation. And along the way, somebody is motivated by liberation, somebody is just curious, many just want to come back to take that nice food that they had there, And then meanwhile, hear this wonderful talk, and it's not just one thing. And if you're sincere and really enter into it, then the motivation becomes nicely purified to the point where you're just focused on Krishna's pleasure and the devotees, giving them and spreading Krishna consciousness for the people, And in that situation, forgetting all about your own happiness, you're the most happy.
Thank you.
And now I have a low battery. So all glories to the Prabhupada.